So let's talk about a huge, fundamental shift that's happening right now in application security. Seriously, if you think you've got a handle on how to break into an app, you might need to throw out your old playbook. We're going to dive into what's changing and why it matters so much. I want you to just pause and think about this question for a second. For, what, decades? Our targets have been quiet, predictable, just lines of code doing what they're told. But now they're getting conversational, they're creative, and sometimes they're wildly unpredictable. And you know what? This one single change pretty much breaks everything we thought we knew about security. Okay, so before we get into the wild new stuff, we have to look back at where we came from. For years and years, the absolute gold standard for security testing was penetration testing, pen testing. And that whole world operated on one simple, beautiful principle: predictability. And this right here, this is the quiet assumption that ran everything. Deterministic. It's a fancy word, but all it means is that if you put the same input in, you get the exact same output. Every single time. Our whole security mindset, all our tools, they were all built on this solid rock of predictability. And this is exactly what it looked like in practice. It was a method, a recipe. You'd find a little box to put some data in, you'd inject some kind of malicious payload, like a bit of SQL code, and then you'd cross your fingers and hope to see an alert pop up. It was clean, it was repeatable, it was almost kind of comfortingly boring. Yeah, these three words, they just nail it. This was the old world. You were like a scientist in a lab, running these controlled experiments on a system that had to follow a very strict set of rules. Your weapons were code, and the app's response was pure logic. And just like that, the entire lab was flipped upside down. That quiet, predictable system we knew how to handle, gone. Replaced by something totally new. Something that, well, it doesn't really care about our old rules. Now look, the problem isn't that our old tools are suddenly broken or useless. It's that the target itself has fundamentally changed. We're not just poking at code anymore. We're now dealing with something that kind of thinks. So what's so different about this new target? Well, for one, it's probabilistic. That means you can ask it the same question twice and literally get two different answers. It's also aware of context, and it's driven by prompts, not commands. But the real kicker? That last one. It can be too helpful. It's designed so hard to please you that you can sometimes trick it into breaking its own safety rules, kind of like an overeager assistant who accidentally gives away the company's secrets. So yeah, you can't fight this new kind of beast with the old weapons. You need a completely new strategy. It's way less about injecting code and a whole lot more about, well, conversation, and even a bit of psychological manipulation. Welcome, my friends, to the world of AI red teaming. Just let that sink in for a second. Your attack payload isn't a string of malicious code. It could be a piece of literature, a carefully crafted story. The goal isn't to break the code. It's to confuse the model, to trick it, to push its context into a weird corner where it starts to misbehave. And here it is, the classic example. You've probably seen this one. This is a prompt injection attack. A simple, plain English sentence that tries to just override all the safety protocols that the developers spent months putting in place. It's an attack on the model's logic, but you're using language as your weapon. I know. If you come from a traditional security background, this all feels wrong, doesn't it? It feels too simple, too fuzzy. Where's the elegant code exploit? Where's the buffer overflow? Nope, just a cleverly worded sentence. And that's the mental leap we all have to make right now. All right, so to make this crystal clear, let's just put these two mindsets side by side. On one side, we have the old world of strict, hard rules. And on the other, we have a new world that operates more on, well, let's call them vibes. This chart breaks it down perfectly. You've got pen testing on the left, you're injecting code into predictable apps, looking for flaws in their logic. Then you've got AI red teaming on the right. You're crafting creative prompts for these unpredictable models, looking for flaws in their behavior. It's like we've gone from trying to break a calculator to trying to manipulate a conversation partner. And this is it. If you remember literally one thing from this whole explainer, make it this sentence right here. This is the entire paradigm shift in a nutshell. Security is no longer just about understanding rules. It's about understanding and manipulating the vibe of a super complex, probabilistic system. So why does this all matter so much? I mean, who cares, right? Well, because trying to apply that old playbook to this new game isn't just going to fail. It's actually dangerous.
It gives you a massive and totally false sense of security.
And here's the problem we're seeing everywhere right now. A lot of security teams think they've got this covered. I mean, they're doing all the right things from the old playbook, right? They're testing APIs, they're checking authentication, the infrastructure is rock solid. But the actual conversational core of the model, the part that can be manipulated by a vibe, that's often barely being tested at all. It's a huge, invisible blind spot. And here's the part that should honestly keep you up at night. When an AI red team attack actually works, it leaves behind none of the evidence we're used to seeing. Your logs won't show some weird, malformed payload. There's no server error, no stack trace. All anyone will ever see is a perfectly normal-looking conversation. Just a sentence.
So there you have it. We've gone from the predictable, controlled world of pen testing to this new, kind of strange art of AI red teaming. It is a massive change in how we have to think about keeping our system safe.
And that really brings us to the final question I want to leave you with. This tech isn't slowing down. It's getting woven into everything, including our most critical systems. So the question isn't if you're going to face this, it's when. Is your security mindset ready for a world that runs on vibes?